Welcome to the KMC Collective podcast, where the KMC team brings you practical insights, creative ideas, and authentic conversations for children's ministry leaders. Each conversation is packed with strategies to help you lead with clarity, build strong teams, nurture families, and stay healthy in the process. Whether you're planning lessons, training volunteers, or seeking encouragement for the week ahead, this podcast is for you. We hope to make you laugh, cry, think, and maybe a bit of all three in each of our weekly conversations. This is the KMC Collective podcast. Let's jump into the conversation.
And here we go.
Hey friends, Easter is not the finish line. So many of us post-Easter go into a cocoon, we check out. 6 months later, we reemerge, we realize we are facing summer down and we're trying to come up with a plan. So in today's episode, we want to take a moment to evaluate Easter and start looking at that summer plan.
Ooh, that's good. Well, that's going to be a very interesting conversation here in the KMC Collective podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm not Ben.
You're maybe Cole.
I'm
And
kind
I'm
of cool.
Vicki.
Yes. Mr. Gooey
Oh.
chocolate egg guy is not here. Rumor has it he's at the human trap run by a mouse.
Yep.
Yeah,
We don't know where he's he's probably flapping his wings right now because
he's probably flying somewhere.
I think he's flying right now. So when we're recording this episode, but yeah,
We will we'll miss the conversation with him.
we
try to
will,
keep it up.
we will miss his spontaneity. Easy for me
There
to
you
say
go.
tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no doubt you can crash hard after Easter and then all of a sudden after that big huge nap that you took, go, how many weeks before all of our summer stuff starts?
Right.
Yeah.
And it causes a lot of panic. So I think this is going to be a fun conversation. I think this is going to be really good as far as thinking through and helping people. If you haven't, when you're, by this time, when you're listening to this episode, or you might be listening to this episode way beyond Easter. Honestly, I think this applies to Christmas
Every
season.
Easter. Yeah.
It applies to post-summer. It really is a seasonal thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a seasonal thing. Like you get done with one event and you're either like already putting it in the rearview mirror, right? Even sometimes before it happens, and then you're looking ahead to all the things. So how can, no matter what event are we post when you're listening to this, pause and evaluate that event before you start staring down the next 5 things on your task list, because the year happens, right? Over
does.
and over. And I think, how can we communicate and challenge our leaders not to go into panic mode event after event? That's not what we're geared towards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can I make a confession to you guys?
Oh,
All right.
absolutely.
Go ahead, my
So I am Tom.
Are you sure you want to do this?
I don't know now. I don't know. My confession. Someone that grew up Catholic. My confession is I am a hard turn guy when an event's done. I
Ooh.
hard turn to the next thing. And so I need you guys to give me some wisdom tonight, because I do some of the stuff we're going to talk about, but at the same time, the way I am wired is, okay, this is done. What's next? And so
Yeah.
give me some wisdom.
So
Give me
you're the
some
guy
stuff.
who just shoves the rag in the gas tank and lights it and just walks away and lets it blow up and you're behind you.
Are you calling me the Joker?
You're an action movie.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of movies where that scene plays out. I've seen
Yeah, I
several
was gonna
movies
say it.
that somebody's doing that to somebody else. Yeah. Well, really, it really is the most important thing in the planning process is evaluation. If you want to be successful for any season, I don't care. To me, post Easter, post Christmas, post VBS, post camp. Those are the big ones. You need to evaluate while it's still fresh. You gotta do some kind of debrief and get it down on paper because your brain's never going to remember. The amazing Jim Weidman's always telling us that your brain isn't built for remembering. God gave you other things to do that with. So your brain is there to help create and think and process. So use it. And I honestly, yeah, always would take the day after, sometimes even in the moment, keeping a little bit of a journal of things because you won't remember it sometimes when you're in the middle of it. So, like, if I'm in the middle of Bible school week, I've got my little notepad in my back pocket and I'm writing notes as they happen real time so that I can go back and I can debrief later and put that down and fill out because I could get to the end of the week and I'm comatose. When post Bible school, even post Easter, tended to take a few days off and get away. And for post Bible school week, I always took my vacation.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to take that time and use that time to do my debriefing stuff. So I had to be doing it during. And so I always tell young leaders, hey, keep debriefing while you're in the process. Write down that stuff so that all those notes can go into a file so that when you start planning for the next year, you've got a file you can pull out and go, okay, what went well, what didn't go well, what needs more celebration, what needs more communication, what needs to die and just be gone.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those. I don't know about you, Vicki, but I'm one of those that says, if it really matters to me, I need to put it down on paper so that I don't forget because I will. I just
Mhm.
will.
So, dropping some wisdom for you, Cole.
I'm
I
taking notes as you guys are talking. I don't know if you can hear my clickety clack on my keyboard, but yeah.
so right now when we're first filming this for the first time, we're post Easter. So I think wisdom is two things in evaluating an event for those people who it's not their natural gift set. I think debriefing with others. And so emailing your core team, asking for feedback is a great way
Yeah.
to help others own it. We should not be doing this all ourselves. If I'm just writing down my feedback,
Mm-hmm.
we are going to miss a lot.
A lot,
And
a lot.
so,
And you're
you know,
empowering volunteers
yeah,
to
however
own a
that
piece of the
looks like,
ministry. Hmm.
it could be as quick as like, you're like, I don't have time. Take 10 seconds, get your core people, you have their phone numbers, you text them, hey, can anyone send me 2 wins and one thing that they would like to improve on whatever event it is?
That's really good.
And just it's quick, it's easy.
Yeah.
And then when you get those, you just quickly can compile them. You just send them all to a note and it compiles it for you. So I'm all about what can I do to get quick responses and to make it easy with not a lot of follow-up work.
Yeah.
And then those of you who have staff or others, you might want to do an email and get that feedback from them in a debrief form. I do that a lot. And so the
That's
next
really
year, the
good.
first thing we do is we pull out all of those debrief forms from the year prior and look at that. But I have found for me to make evaluation work, it has to be simple, it has to be quick. I have to
Yeah.
be able to put it away and then not look at it. If your system is not simple and it doesn't work for you, you're not going to use it.
Yeah. What kind of questions, what kind of things should we be evaluating, measuring, post
Mm,
big events?
that
We'll
is,
broaden it even from just not, I mean, it applies to Easter, but it applies to everything.
mhm.
Okay, so I can give some advice here. I mean, though I don't always evaluate, I do know what matters when it comes to things you're going to evaluate. I would say from my own experience, attendance is not the baseline for that evaluation.
Bravo.
Yeah, because attendance is going to fluctuate with what the season is in your community.
Mm-hmm.
Like Vicki, I told you before we started, I was anticipating a certain number of kids, and then that didn't happen. And I realized last year, Easter was later, spring break was earlier, and this year, spring break in my community lined up with Easter. And so 20 to 25 of my regulars weren't there because they were all out of town, which is great
Yeah.
for them. I love it for them. But so attendance is not always the foundational piece. I think um like for me, one of the pieces from this last Sunday when we had Easter was I had 5 new families and I was able to reconnect with 3 of them before they left
Oh,
to see
awesome.
how their experience
Okay.
was. One in particular, because I remember very vividly, they were really worried that their kids were going to be, they had a 2-year-old and a nursery 2 kid, and they were really worried they asked me right away, what's the crying rule? Like, when are you going to text me? And I said, we got the 5-minute rule. If they cry for 5 minutes straight, we'll call you. If they at any point stop, we restart the clock. Um, and so we got done with service and they came downstairs and they looked like they were refreshed and excited. And they came up and they said, how did the kids do? And I said, did you get a text? And they said, no. I said, I didn't think so. I said, honestly, your kids were great. They weren't crying. They were super engaged. I checked on them twice just to make sure. And they were excited. They were excited. They got to enjoy Easter service and their kids got to enjoy Easter service in
Yeah.
their own environments and
So
in their
good.
own ways.
Mhm.
And so taking that time on Sunday morning to get that feedback from new families. I know it might also be a little daunting to talk to someone you've never really talked to. I was lucky enough to have to check them in, so I was able to like make that connection point with them. But being able to connect with those families and having those conversations and saying, "Hey, how was it for you?" Because down here it went really great for your kids. And connect those connection points are great. And to me, that family having a good Easter and having a good experience in our church is way better than the whatever number I thought we might have on an Easter Sunday. So,
That's
I love
good.
that you talked about numbers, so not from like a check mark, but I think that is part of evaluation is the numbers in relation to what else is going on.
mhm.
Like that is helpful. So next year you will know, oh, we did have this many, and this is when Easter was, and this is when spring break was.
Yeah.
I think that's really helpful. We often have to look at that because, right, you have midwinter break or
Mhm.
when school gets out. There's all of those things. So I love that you are marking that a little bit. When I think through evaluation, I think through the different pieces of your service, and that can help you know who to reach out to. So, what is check in? Like, let's
Yep.
evaluate check in. Who are your people you're going to reach out to get that evaluation? You know, what was the beginner activity? What about large group? What about worship? Were the kids engaged? Small group, whatever your components are, I like to evaluate like the big bucket
Yeah.
components
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
get
That's great.
feedback from volunteers in that. No matter what event it is, you are going to get some really good feedback. And be mindful, some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, it's too late to get feedback. It's not because if
No.
you have volunteers who are processors, you're going to get your better feedback a week or two out because they're going to have time to process. A lot of
Yep.
people can't give feedback in the moment,
Yep.
and that's okay.
Very
So
true.
Yep.
Very
that's a
true.
little bit
I,
how
I like
we do
I
that.
like that evaluation process of every big main point of check-in, small group, large group, greeting, maybe whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Take
what
home.
was the tension? What was the good stuff?
Yeah.
That type
Hmm.
of stuff.
Yep. I do the same, a lot of the same stuff, Vicky, yeah, looking at, you know, our lesson, our large group lesson, was the gospel presented well? Did it flow well? Was the object lessons, because I use an object lesson on Easter, especially, was it distracting or was it helpful? Sometimes I've
Such
planned
good
a this
feedback.
object lesson
Hmm.
because this is where I see a lot of ministry leaders. They get so worked up and, oh, I got to do this big giant, I got to blow something up or whatever.
Oh,
And
something up.
Yeah.
There's a theme tonight.
Well, that
No,
was me a long time ago. I guess
I
I
had a
always wanted some.
I had a preschool large group teacher that would bring a blowtorch in once a year to talk about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I made a whole preschool department during Bible school cry because I did a flaming trick and it was so loud and it went off and you literally in this old video you can hear preschoolers screaming. They were like crawling out trying to get out of there because it scared them half to death.
That's
Um,
evaluation.
it I mean, now the rest of the room lost their minds. I mean, they were going bonkers, screaming and cheering. But it was that
It's
one
amazing.
section that I didn't anticipate losing and making all the preschool leaders very angry. Um, but I learned and we evaluated, okay, when we're going to
Mhm.
do something like that, the preschoolers shouldn't be in the room. Let's leave them out of the room on that one.
Yeah.
But you do have to look at some of those kind of things and say, did it connect? And yeah, look at your check-in. Did it flow well? Was there, how long were the lines? Did
Mhm.
it take longer for people, especially if you had a bunch of new families? Was your new family check-in, or do you even have a new family check-in, or should you have one for next year
Hmm.
There
because
you
you
go.
need a separate space for the new families to check in because it takes them a little longer. Um, those are the kind of things you need to look at the little stuff, and because it's the little stuff that can leave a big negative. Um,
Hmm.
if you advertise you're going to have a donut wall and you run out of donuts in the first 5 minutes, you got a problem in planning.
Yep.
That's a fail. If you're promoting something and you don't deliver well, you need to ask yourself why. Why didn't we deliver
Hmm.
it well? What could we have done differently? Did we communicate early enough? I think you've got to start asking those questions while it's fresh, and yeah, asking key leaders and getting a couple trusted families
Mhm.
that can come. And then, if you're really gutsy, go talk to some of those visiting families. Call them up, get on the phone, call them up and say, could I take 5 minutes and ask you a few questions? I really would like to know. And tell me about your experience. Did you feel welcomed? Did people come up and introduce themselves? Everybody thinks their church is friendly.
Until
Um,
you do secret supper.
and yeah, you do you bring some, you start getting some of that feedback. I will tell you, when I had younger kids, one of my jobs was consulting in churches and helping them with their family ministry and their kids ministry. And I remember this pastor just bragging up a storm of how friendly and warm his church is. And we walked in and we stood in the entry for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
People walked past us, nodded, said
10,
good morning.
10 minutes.
10 minutes before
Oof.
somebody finally walked up and said, hi, are you all new? Like, duh.
Yeah.
I,
That's
I I might as well put a sticker that says, yes, I'm new. Um, but we literally 10 minutes. I told my kids, we're just going to go in and see who talks to us. So just look around, and we did. We were kind of wandering around and looking. 10 minutes. When that pastor heard that, he was blown away. But
Yeah.
yeah.
and then afterwards, I asked my kids, so how'd you like the kids area? What'd you like about it? Oh man, did I get an earful? Um, it's so if you really are courageous and you really want to know, go ask a few families. How'd you do?
Mhm.
And I think you should. I really do think you should. And you should take the good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't take it personal. Um, but take it and use it as fuel to do better because we're needing to do that. And so I honestly think, as you're doing that evaluation, one of the things you want to make sure before you transition and light the fuse to blow up the thing behind you, make sure that you've done a good job of appreciating everybody who did the extra.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Because holiday weekends are taxing on volunteer teams as
Yeah.
much as they are on us as staff. And we need to make sure that we're going over and above. I'm going to brag on my daughter. She works at our local church, and one of the things she realized, nobody had planned for the in-between services for the people who were staying and working multiple services.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had gotten any little snacks or treats or anything for these people. And she went, oh no. And so she told her boss, hey, I'm running over to the store while the service is on to grab some stuff for the volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And at first her boss was like, why? Don't worry about it. They'll be fine. And she went, we're not doing that.
They could be fine, but
Yeah.
Oh,
So
could do something very nice for those who are giving up full service. That's
yeah.
great evaluation and
I was gonna
feedback.
say I added an extra donut Sunday to my month, and my volunteers, when I shot them a text, and Sunday morning I got text back going, donuts, yes. Like,
Well,
you
I
know,
actually ran into one of our volunteers
oh.
and she told me, your daughter was absolutely amazing. She said she went and she brought us, she told us that there was this table all set up for us, and we went in there and she had all sorts of goodies for us, and oh my gosh, was that so thoughtful, because we were wondering. And she said, I was going to call my husband and say, on your way into the service, because she was working 2 services, I was going to call my husband and tell him to pick up some stuff, because I didn't have time to eat breakfast before I came, and I was going to stay for 2 services, and there your daughter had everything all covered. I'm like, man, there's a huge win. And I told my daughter, I
Mm-hmm.
said, you know what? Those volunteers are going to remember that. And I can guarantee you they're going to be more willing to sign up and serve next year because of that one little gesture that you had.
Yep.
So make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're thinking about those things. If you didn't do that this year for your teams and you had multiple services, do something like that. But even if you only have one service, I still think it's important. You make sure that those people feel valued and cared for, because I just think that's an important deal. We just don't want to miss it before we move on to, the next thing, because it's easy to do.
So we've evaluated kids programming. We have evaluated our volunteer care. We have evaluated or started to evaluate new family, right? Like new
Mm-hmm.
families. And one other thing I think that we would be remiss if we didn't at least evaluate is how are you going to evaluate your follow-up, right? For some of you, you guys walked into Easter and you realize, I don't have a follow-up plan to how to follow up with any of our families post Easter. Put that in your evaluation because once you get out your planning next year or when you do your next event, your evaluation will note that I need to have a follow-up plan for how to communicate with those new families or all of our families. Like, what is your follow-up plan for your event? I think those are like the big buckets that could really help in
Yeah.
evaluation before you then close the
Mm-hmm.
book on your current event, right? And then we move to the next one. So as you're closing that book, Tom and Cole, how do you move your brain from evaluation now into immense planning mode? For many of us, if you're listening to this in real time, summer's coming, end of school year, transition, volunteer schedules, camp, VBS. That excites me. I know for others, they're like, stop. What are you saying, Vicki? It excites me, but I love
Yeah.
change. I love all of that. So
Yep, me too.
how do we shift gears well, right? Re-energize ourselves.
Yeah.
Take a moment to fill our cups and go, you know what, full steam ahead because the gospel's still going to matter in those next events.
Yeah.
So I will tell you this. The best way, so like my next big thing is summer camp. Obviously, that's the next, we got it in end of June, early July. Um, the easiest way for me to transition post Easter into summer camp is to start planning for summer camp in January. Because at this
Yeah.
point, it's 2 months out. I'm at volunteer recruitment. I've already done all the prep work.
Mm.
All I have to do is order supplies, volunteer recruitment, and then prep my supplies in June when we get to that point. Like, if you're not planning or finding ways to start planning your kids' camp at minimum 5 months before it happens, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
And so for
Yeah.
me to transition well from Easter to kids' camp or the next thing is to adequately build time into my regular routine in times of the year where you're like, well, you shouldn't be planning kids camp. It's January. Like, why would you even
Yeah.
think about something that's in June or July? It's so that when I'm in April, I'm not running, going, oh my gosh, I haven't edited curriculum. I didn't even download anything yet. What's large group look like? What are we talking about? Do I have a registration up in Planning Center? All of those things are done. And
Yeah.
so for me, if I plan right at the beginning of the year or knowing what's happening next, I can transition easy into the next thing and go, well, I'm 30 to 70% done with wherever I'm at because this is what I've been doing with my time and planning my time so that this is already going. And so for me, it is building a plan from a larger standpoint and starting way earlier than probably most people would or people would think you need to, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah. Best time to plan for the next thing is the day after you just did it. Um, if I like for my Bible school and my summer camp, those things I started planning for the next calendar year the day after I wrapped them up with that evaluation package.
Hmm.
Doing that evaluation and saying, okay, next year, here's what I want to do differently. I got that. And then I can start working, I look at my dates and I calendar backwards. So if I'm
Mm.
doing Bible school in June and kids camp in late July, I got to work backwards those weeks. And I'm
Hmm.
with you. You know, Now I'm thankful that most of the Bible school publishers are now putting out their themes and getting out stuff earlier than back in the day, it used to be nobody revealed anything until January anyway. And so that's when you could buy your kit and get started
Hmm.
on the planning. Now you're actually getting them earlier. Some of them are,
I think
releasing.
I got mine in November.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah. See, you're getting them earlier, so that gives you time to, when you want to do it. So start on your calendar and work backwards. Give yourself some benchmarks of we got to have this done by this time and this done by this time. I, you will kill overwhelm really fast if you can learn to just plan a few things backwards, and walk those dates and put them on your calendar as reminders. It drives me crazy. Nobody. I saw somebody was on Instagram or something. Did Easter sneak up on you? And I'm like, if Easter snuck up on you, just turn your resignation in now. I'm sorry, that's harsh and mean, but just
Yeah.
if that snuck up on you.
Unless you
Yeah.
just started,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, like if
possible.
you just
But
Yeah.
started last week
Okay.
or something,
Yes.
2 weeks
Okay.
but
ago.
A brand new
but
leader, I'll give that. I'll give
yeah,
them a pass. But if you've been
Yeah.
in
otherwise.
ministry for more than a year and Easter sneaks up on you, I'm sorry. You need a
Yeah.
coach. Go hire one.
What
I'll even give you a free total session for that because I'm like, that's crazy. But you really do.
yeah. No,
You
no, go
you
ahead. I finished your
you
thought.
got to plan backwards to me, and it will help you transition so that
Mhm.
once
Hmm.
Easter's done, now you're going, okay, I've got 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. I now know I've got to get a pace going to build that momentum and to capitalize on what we started in Easter to let it build up again. And so I think it's the perfect time, you know, before the, yeah, I was planning Bible school before Easter. I was doing both of them. It was a both
Yep.
and scenario.
Hmm.
You can't just put all your eggs in a basket and it's not going to work well if you just do it. So you gotta plan them both out. And I think a lot of leaders need to learn how to transition from season to season better, and think more on the calendar so that
Hmm.
they don't feel that overwhelming feeling because you don't have to feel that way. You don't.
Mhm.
Um, if you just take a few minutes and think it through, and if
Hmm.
that's not your gifting, find somebody that it is and let them do it.
Yeah.
I got my church to get me an admin because I needed somebody to help me think in the small things. I could think in leaps and bounds. I needed somebody to come along and take those big bounds and get all the little dots connected in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had that help, it was so easy for me to just go, okay, here's my deadlines. I got all those planned out on my calendar. What I want you to do is, you've got access to my calendar. I want you to throw reminders on every week. Every week I should have reminders for Easter. I should have reminders for Bible school. I should have reminders for kids camp. Put those on there for me so I know I'm hitting my mark. And if I know what I'm aiming at, I'm going to hit it. But I'm telling you, if you throw this planning stuff on the wall and hope something sticks, you're going to be in chaos. You're going to burn your team out. You're going to burn yourself out. And you're honestly not going to reach the children the way you want to.
Yeah,
I look at it.
don't do it by
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Don't do it by yourself. I also look at it. Now, I know not everyone plans a year at a time, but you do have yearly things that come up. So, like, I guess call them an anchor. These are things that are like every year you hit them. Every, like, whether your Bible
Christmas
school,
comes every year.
Christmas comes every year. Easter comes every year. Kickoff for school comes every year. Your volunteer training hopefully comes at least once a year. Summer camp, whether you do kids camp and VBS or just VBS, those are all like anchor points throughout your year. And so plan around your anchor points. Use those anchor points. You can use them as a year at a time or seasonally, like at a quarter. Go, what are my anchor points for the next 3 months? And then go from there. And so, like, it'll take so much pressure off you. And so, and the transition point, to Vicky's question, the transition point is easier if you're planning farther ahead.
Yeah,
than
definitely
you need to be.
is.
Yeah.
So.
And I think for some people, the bridge that they're looking for could be another person to brainstorm with. A lot of people, right? They're like, I don't have somebody to do that with. You know, I'm all by myself. Find 1 or 2 volunteers to get in a room, take them out to lunch, take them to coffee. It doesn't need to be a staff person. Like, you need to have that volunteer. And if you find yourself where you literally have no one, reach out to another church, reach out to somebody you know in ministry. I mean, happy to get on a call, right? Like, you need
Yeah.
someone,
There you go.
Seriously.
you know, somebody that can help you with that. If anyone is feeling like, I don't have anyone, the bridge could be finding another person to help you navigate to close one, to go into another.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Don't listen to the lie of the enemy that you have no one to talk to.
We
Yeah.
are better together, guys. We are all
Yes,
human.
100%.
Yeah.
We
I
all
like
have
that.
the best message ever.
That's right. And listen, my friends, that's why for all 3 of us and, you know, and Ben, we're here as the KMC coach team. And I've had people say, well, I can't afford coaching. It costs too much. Well, why don't you give us an opportunity to talk? Give us an opportunity to listen and to hear where you are and what you can afford. And I guarantee you we'll work with you. We're probably one of the few team of coaches that literally will flex for you as far as our rates go. We want to serve. Serving leaders is our heartbeat. And so I don't want you thinking, well, I'm in a small church and I don't even have a coaching budget. Give us a try anyway. Set up a 30-minute clarity call at kmccoach.net. Hit the button on one of us. Sit down and talk to us for 30 minutes. If nothing else, you had 30 minutes to just exhale and get some encouragement. But I have a feeling that every one of us are going to do whatever we can to serve you. So give it a try. We do need each other, and it's not just our saying around here at the Kid Ministry Collective. It really is something as our core value that we are better together. And so you make us better. We want to make you better. So come check it out. If you want to get into a community of leaders and you do have some budget money, come check out kidminplus.net. There are lessons in there. There's training in there for healthy leaders, healthy teams, healthy ministries. There's live meetups and roundtables. We have a lot we're offering in there, and we would love for you to come join there, or just come join the Kid Ministry Collective Facebook group. Answer the questions to join. We'd love to get to know you and keep the conversation going. What are some of the things that you do to transition from Easter to the summer or from a big event to the next thing? We would love to hear from you. what you do on that. So that's going to wrap up this week's KMC Collective conversation. I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
I'm Vicki, and we are missing Ben and cannot wait to hear what he has to say in the Facebook group about this subject.
I bet you he's got a few things.
I think he does.
A couple.
All right, we're out. Until next time, my friends.
Hey, friend, that wraps up the KMC Collective podcast for this week. Thanks so much for listening. If today's episode sparked something, an idea, a heartbeat, or a fresh start, drop us a line at tom@tombump.com or reach out on social media. We'd love to hear your story and keep the conversation going. Remember, you're not just doing kids ministry, you're shaping the next generation's faith with intention and care. Be encouraged, be creative, and take a breath. You've got this. Catch you next time on the KMC Collective Podcast.